Hello everyone. Welcome to this complete IELTS masterclass. If you are planning to study abroad, migrate to another country, or apply for a professional job overseas, then IELTS is one of the most important exams you will ever take. In this session, I will explain everything step by step. What IELTS is, how the exam is structured, what types of question you will face, how much time you will get for each module, and most importantly, how you should approach each section strategically. By the end of this class, you will not feel confused about IELTS anymore. You will have a clear roadmap. So let's begin. Now let me briefly explain what we are going to cover in today's class. In this session, I will give you a complete overview of the IELTS examination. First, we will clarify and we will clearly understand what IELTS is and why it is important. Then, we will discuss the different types of IELTS so that you can identify which one is suitable for your goal. After that, we will move on to the overall question pattern of the exam. I will explain how the test is structured and how the scoring system works. Next, we will explore all 4 modules like listening, reading, writing, speaking in detail. For each module, I will break down the different type of questions that commonly appear in the exam. Most importantly, I will explain practical strategies on how to approach and solve each type of questions effectively. We will also discuss time management techniques because managing your time properly is one of the key factors in achieving a high band score. So by the end of today's class, you will not only understand the IELTS format, but you will also know how to prepare for it in a smart and structured way. Now, let's begin with the most important question. What exactly is IELTS? IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System. It is an internationally recognized English language exam that measures your ability to use English effectively in real-life situations. In other words, IELTS does not just test grammar or vocabulary separately, it evaluates how well you can actually communicate in English. The test measures your proficiency in 4 key skills. The first, listening, which assesses how well you understand spoken English in different contexts, such as conversation and lectures. Second, reading, which evaluates your ability to understand written text and identify important information. Third, writing, which tests how clearly and logically you can express your ideas in written English. And finally, speaking, which measures your fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, and confidence while speaking. Each of these 4 modules is scored individually on a band scale from 0 to 9. After that, your overall band score is calculated by taking the average of the 4 individual scores. Band 9 indicates an expert user of English, while lower bands reflect different level of proficiency. Let's talk about the types of IELTS. There are two main types of IELTS examination: academic IELTS and general training IELTS. Academic IELTS is for students who want to study abroad. So if you are planning to apply to a university or college in countries like the UK, Australia, Canada, or New Zealand, you will most likely take the academic version. It focuses more on academic language, reading complex text, and analyzing charts or graphs in writing task 1. The general training IELTS, on the other hand, is designed for people who want to migrate, work, or apply for a permanent residency in an English-speaking country. Here the reading passage and writing tasks are more related to daily life, work, and social situation. Now, here is something very important. Listening and speaking are exactly the same in both versions. So whatever type you take, you will face the same questions in these modules. However, reading and writing are different. In academic IELTS, the reading passages are longer and more complex, and in writing task 1, you describe graphs, charts, or process. But in general training, the reading tests are simpler, often related to everyday situation, and writing task 1 usually ask you to write a letter like formal, semi-formal, or informal. So before registering for IELTS, it's essential to know which type you need based on your goal: study abroad or migration or work. Let's take a look the overall formation of the IELTS examination. The test has 4 main modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Each module has a specific duration, and managing your time properly is very important to perform well. First, the listening module. The listening module lasts 30 minutes. If you are taking the paper-based exam, you get an additional 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. During this module, you will listen to 4 different recordings, and you have to answer 40 questions. Next, the reading module. Reading module is 60 minutes long. Here you have to read 3 passages and answer about 40 questions. So there is no extra time to transfer your answer. So you need to manage your time carefully. The writing module also takes 60 minutes. It has 2 tasks, task 1 and task 2. Task 2 is more important, so you should spend about 40 minutes on it and 20 minutes on task 1. And finally, the speaking module. The speaking module lasts about between 11 to 40 minutes. This is a face-to-face interview with an examiner, and it can happen on the same day as the other modules or up to a week before or after, depending on the test center. So the total test time is around 2 hours and 45 minutes, excluding breaks. Understanding the timing of each module is crucial because it allows you to plan your strategy. manage your pace, and reduce stress on the exam day. Let's talk about the listening module. So we will explain in detail about the listening module. The listening test lasts for 30 minutes, and in the paper-based exam you get an additional 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. During these 30 minutes, you will listen to 4 different recordings, and the difficulty level gradually increases from section 1 to section 4. Let's understand each section one by one. Section 1 is usually a conversation between two people in a daily life situation. For example, it could be a phone call to book a hotel room, register for a course, or ask for information. This section is generally the easiest one. The questions mostly focus on factual information such as names, phone numbers, address, dates, or prices. So you need to listen carefully for specific details. Section 2 is a monologue, which means only one person is speaking. The topic is usually related to a social situation. For example, it could be a tour guide explaining a museum or someone describing facilities in a park or community centers. In this section, you often get map leveling or multiple choice questions. You need to follow the speaker's direction carefully. Section 3 is more challenging. It is usually an academic discussion between 2, 3, or sometimes 4 people. For example, students discussing a project with a professor. Here the conversation becomes more complex. Speakers may interrupt each other, change opinions, or correct themselves. So you must stay focused and listen carefully to understand the main ideas. Section 4 is the most difficult part. It is an academic lecture delivered by one speaker. There is no interruption, just continuous speech. The topic is usually related to university level subjects. You need a strong concentration because the speaker talks for a longer time without pauses. Most questions here are note completion or sentence completion. So overall, the listening modules test your ability to understand English in both everyday and academic contexts. As the sections in progress, the level of difficulty increases, so staying calm and focused throughout the test is extremely important. Now, let's look at the different type of questions you may face in the listening module. There are several common question types, and each one tests a slightly different skills. First, multiple choice questions. In this type, you will be given a question with 3 or sometimes 4 options, such as option A, B, C, or D. Your task is to choose the correct answer based on what you hear. One important thing to remember is that the speaker may mention all the options, but only one will be correct. Sometimes the speaker may change their mind or correct themselves, so you must listen carefully until the idea is fully completed. This type of questions test your ability to understand detailed meaning, not just keywords. Next, form completion. This type of question usually appears in section 1. You will see a form with missing information such as name, address, phone number, date, or price. You need to fill in the missing details while listening. The test your ability to catch specific factual information. Spelling and numbers are very important here. Even a small spelling mistakes can cost your marks. Note completion. Note completion is similar to form completion, but instead of a form, you will see short notes summarizing the audio. These notes usually relate to lectures or explanation. You need to complete the missing information. The answer come in order, so follow the audio carefully. This question type tests your ability to understand key ideas and details. Sentence completion. In sentence completion, you are given incomplete sentence. You must complete each sentence using words from the audio. Here grammar is very important. Your answer must fit grammatically into the sentence. For example, if the sentence requires a noun, your answer must be a noun. Also, always check the word limit. Map labeling. Map labeling questions usually appear in section 2. You will see a map of a place, such as building, park, campus, or town. While listening, you must identify the correct location. The speaker will use direction words like on the left, next to, opposite, at the end of the corridor, behind. So understanding directions is essential. You should follow the map step by step as the speaker describes it. Matching. In matching questions, you need to match information from the audio with a list of options. For example, you may match speakers with opinions or match features with location. Usually there are more options than questions, which means some options will not be used. These question types test your ability to understand opinions and specific details. Finally, table completion. This is similar to note completion, but the information is arranged in a table format. You need to fill in missing information under the correct column. The headings in the table help you to predict what kind of information you need to listen for. Again, answers come in order. So overall, the listening module includes a variety of question types, but the key skills required are careful listening, recognizing synonyms, predicting answers, and managing your focus throughout the test. Now, let's talk about how to solve the listening module effectively. First of all, before the audio starts, you will get some time to read the questions. Use this time very wisely. Read each question carefully and try to understand what kind of information is required. Underline important keywords such as names, numbers, dates, location, or specific instructions. This will help you to stay focused while listening. Next, allows focus on synonyms. In the most cases, the speaker will not use the exact same words that appear in the question paper. For example, instead of saying cheap, the speaker might say affordable. So you must listen for meaning, not just exact words. Another important point is that the answers always comes in order. That means question 1 will come before question 2 in the recording. So if you miss one answer, don't panic. Move on quickly and focus on the next question. After writing your answer, always check your spelling. Spelling mistakes can reduce your score. Also make sure you follow the word limit given in the instruction. If possible, write your answer in capital letters. This makes your answer clear and easy to read, and it reduces the risk of losing marks due to unclear handwriting. So remember, successful listening is not about understanding every single word. It is about focusing, predicting, and staying calm throughout the test. Now let's move on to the reading module. The total time for the reading test is 60 minutes. And this is very important that there is no extra time. There is no extra time to transfer your answer. So whatever you write must be completed within those 60 minutes. That means time management is absolutely crucial in this section. Now the structure of reading test depends on whatever you are taking, academic or general training IELTS. In academic IELTS, you will get 3 long passages. In academic IELTS, you will get 3 long passages. These passages are usually taken from books, journals, magazines, or research articles. The texts are more complex and academic in nature. You may find unfamiliar vocabulary, but don't panic. You don't need to understand every word. You just need to understand the main ideas and look at specific information. In general training IELTS, the reading test is divided into 3 sections. Section 1 contains short text. These are usually related to everyday situations such as advertisements, notice, or instructions. Section 2 focus on work-related topics. For example, job descriptions, company policies, or training materials. And section 3 contains on longer passage, similar to academic reading, but slightly less complex. This section is usually most challenging part of the general reading test. So whatever you are taking, academic or general training, the reading module tests your ability to understand written English quickly and accurately within a limited time. That's why practicing time management and reading strategies is extremely important. Now, let's take a look at the different types of questions you may face in the reading module. The reading test includes a variety of question types, and each one checks a different reading skills. True, false, not given. In this type of question, you are given a statement. You must decide whatever the statement agrees with the information in the passage. If the statement matches the information exactly, the answer is true. If the statement contradicts the information, the answer is false. If the information is not mentioned at all in the passage, the answer is not given. The most important rule here is don't assume anything, only use the information provided in the text. Yes, no, not given. This type is similar to true, false, not given. However, it is usually used when the passage talks about the writer's opinion. If the writer agrees with the statement, the answer is yes. If the writer disagrees, the answer is no. And if the writer's opinion is not mentioned, then it is not given. So here, you must carefully understand the writer's viewpoint. Multiple choice. In multiple choice questions, you are given several options. You need to choose the correct answer based on the passage. Sometimes more than one option may look correct. So you must carefully compare each option with the text. This type of question tests detailed understanding. Matching headings. In matching headings, you are given a list of headings and several paragraphs. You must match the correct headings to each paragraph. This tests your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. To solve this, focus on the overall theme of the paragraph, not just small details. Matching information. In matching information, you need to match a specific information to the correct paragraph. Unlike matching headings, this question focuses on details rather than the main idea. You need strong scanning skills to find the correct part of this passage. Sentence completion. In sentence completion, you complete sentences using words from the passage. Your answer must fit grammatically and follow the word limit. This type checks your understanding of specific details. Summary completion. In summary completion, you complete a short summary of part of the passage. You may need to choose words from the text or from a given word list. This question tests your understanding of both vocabulary and overall meaning. And the last one, diagram leveling. In diagram leveling, you label parts of diagram using words from the passage. For example, it could be a process, a machine, or a biological structure. You must locate the relevant part in the passage and choose the correct word. So overall, the reading module is not about reading every word. It's about understanding the main idea, finding the specific details quickly, and managing your time effectively. Now let's talk about how to solve the reading module effectively. First of all, don't read the full passage at the beginning. Many students make these mistakes. If you try to read everything word by word, you will waste too much time. Instead, read the question first. Understand what kind of information you are looking for. This will give you a clear purpose while reading the passage. Next, use skimming to understand the main idea of the passage or paragraph. Skimming means reading quickly to get the general meaning. Focus on the first and last sentences of each paragraph because they often contain the main idea. Then, use scanning for a specific answer. Scanning means looking quickly to keywords such as names, dates, numbers, or specific terms. You are not reading for full understanding. You are searching for particular information. Time management is extremely important. You have only 60 minutes for 3 passages. A smart way to divide your time is for passage 1, 15 minutes, for passage 2, 20 minutes, and for passage 3, 25 minutes. The third passage is usually the most difficult, so it needs more time. Now, let's talk about true, false, and not given questions. If the statement exactly matches the information in the passage, the answer is true. If the statement clearly contradicts or has the opposite meaning, the answer is false. If the information is not mentioned at all in the passage, then the answer is not given. Remember, not given does not mean false. It simply means the text doesn't provide enough information. Always base your answer only on the text, not on your personal knowledge. So, to succeed in reading, you need strategy, speed, and accuracy. Don't try to understand every word. Focus on finding the right information effectively within the time limit. Now, let's move on to the writing module. The total time for the writing test is only 60 minutes. There are 2 tasks and both tasks must be completed within this time. Academic Writing Task 1. In Academic IELTS, Task 1 requires you to describe visual information. This could be a graph, a chart, a pie chart, a table, a map, or even a process diagram. Your job is not to give your opinion. Your job is to summarize and describe the key features. You need to write at least 150 words minimum. If you write fewer than 115 words, your score will be reduced. In task 1, you should write an introduction by paraphrasing the question, write an overview highlighting the main trends or key feature, then describe the important details with comparisons. Remember, focus on trends, comparisons, and highest and lowest points, not every small detail. Writing task 2. Task 2 is essay writing. Here you must write at least 250 words. This task carries more marks than task 1, so you should spend more time on it. In task 2, you may get different type of essays such as opinion essay, discussion essay, problem solution essay, advantage disadvantage essay. Here, you must clearly present your ideas, support them with explanation, and give relevant examples. Your essay should have an introduction, two body paragraphs, a clear conclusion. Make sure your ideas are logical and well organized. A good time strategy is spend about 20 minutes on task 1 and spend about 40 minutes on task 2, because task 2 is more weight in scoring. So in writing, success depends on structure, clarity, vocabulary, and grammar accuracy. Plan before you write. Organize your ideas clearly and always check your work if time allows. Now, let's talk about the general training writing module. The total time is 60 minutes and there are two tasks. In task 1, you have to write a letter. It could be a formal letter, semi-formal letter, or informal letter, depending on the situation given in the question. You need to write at least 150 words. You should spend around 20 minutes on this task. In task 2, you have to write an essay. The minimum word limit is 250 words. You should spend about 40 minutes on task 2. Task 2 carries more marks, so it is more important. That's why you must manage your time properly and give more focus to task 2. Now let's talk about how to structure your writing answer properly. First, I will explain task 1 structure. In academic task 1, your answer should have 4 clear parts. In academic task 1, your answer should have 4 clear parts. First, write the introduction. In the introduction, you should paraphrase the question. Don't copy the question directly. Change the words and structure, but keep the same meaning. Second, write the overview. The overview is more important. Here you summarize the main trends or key features of the graph or charts. Don't include too many numbers here. Just describe the general pattern. Then write the body paragraph on. In this paragraph, describe the most important details and compare the data clearly. After that, write body paragraph 2. Here, describe the remaining key features and make relevant comparisons. So remember, introduction, overview, body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. Now let's move to task 2 structure. Task 2 is essay writing, and your essay should have 4 main parts. First, the introduction. Here, paraphrase the question and clearly state your opinion or main idea. Then body paragraph on. Present your first main idea and support it with explanation and an example. Next, body paragraph 2. Present your second main idea and again support it clearly. And finally, write the conclusion. In the conclusion, summarize your main points and restate your opinion clearly. Keep it simple and clear. Don't introduce new ideas in the conclusion. Now let's talk about some important tips. Always use linking words such as however, therefore, moreover, in addition, on the other hand. This improves your coherence and cohesion score. Avoid repeating the same words again and again. Use synonyms where possible. Try to use complex sentence, not only simple sentence. For example, use although, while, because, if, and relative clause. Always give relevant examples in task 2 to support your ideas. And finally, if you have time, check your grammar, spelling, and pronunciation carefully. Small mistakes can reduce your band score. So in writing, structure is everything. If your structure is clear and your ideas are well organized, getting a high band score becomes much easier. Now let's talk about the speaking module. The total time for speaking test between 11 to 40 minutes. The test divided into 3 parts. Part 1, Introduction and Personal Questions. Introduction and Personal Questions. It's part 1. So part 1 lasts about 4 to 5 minutes. In this part, the examiner will ask you simple questions about yourself. For example, your hometown, studies, work, hobbies, or daily life. The questions are easy and conversational. You should answer naturally and give short but complete answer. Don't give only one-word answers. Try to extend your answer slightly by adding a reason or example. Part 2, Cue card. Part 2 lasts about 3 to 4 minutes. Here you will receive a cue card with a topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare. During that time, you can make short notes. Then you must speak for up to 2 minutes. Try to speak continuously without stopping. Cover all the bullet points mentioned on the cue card. If possible, add a small personal example to make your answer more natural and interesting. And part 3, Discussion. Part 3 lasts around 4 to 5 minutes. This is the most advanced part. The examiner will ask deeper and more analytical questions related to part 2 topics. Here you should give longer answers, explain your ideas clearly, and give examples. This part checks your ability to discuss abstract ideas. Let's talk about how to perform well in speaking. To perform well in speaking test, speak naturally. Like you are having a conversation, and don't memorize answer. Examiner can easily understand if your answer sounds memorized. Extend your answer by explaining why or giving example. Also, maintain fluency. It's okay to pause for a second to think, but don't stay silent for too long. And most important, don't panic if you make any mistake. Don't panic if you make any mistakes. If you make a small mistake, just continue speaking confidently. Fluency and communication are more important than perfection. So remember, in IELTS speaking, confidence, clarity, and natural communication are the key to getting a high band score. Now we have reached reached the final slide where we will discuss how IELTS is scored and some final advice for success. How IELTS is scored. Each module's listening, reading, writing and speaking gets a band score from 0 to 9. Then your final band score is calculated as the average of the 4 module scores. For example, if you get 7 in listening, 6.5 in reading, 7 in writing and 7.5 in speaking, your overall band score will be 7. So every module is important and you must prepare well in all 4. And now if you want to score 7 or above, here are some practical tips. Number 1, practice daily. Make English a part of your everyday life. Improve your vocabulary. Learn new words and phrases and try to use them. Read English articles, newspapers, magazines, blogs, anything that interests you. Listen to English podcasts, news, podcasts or English videos to improve your listening skills. Write essays regularly. Practice both task 1 and task 2 formats and record your speaking. Listen to yourself and notice areas for improvement. And the most important tip of all, that consistency is the key. Small efforts every day are much more effective than long but irregular study sessions. So remember, IELTS is not just about memorizing answer or last minute preparation. It is about consistent practice, strategy and confidence. If you follow these tips and practice smartly, you can definitely achieve your target band score. Good luck everyone and keep practicing. Bye bye.